Snoop Dogg, the undisputed king of hip-hop, has been a pop culture icon for decades. With his laid-back style and unmistakable presence, he conquered the world with his rhymes and unique charisma. But behind that smile, there has always been a darker shadow. From era-defining hits like Gin and Juice to a life of excess, parties, and connections with dangerous figures, Snoop's story is much more than a musical career. Today, we will go beyond the fame and the legend, beyond the Uncle Snoop everyone thinks they know, to uncover the secrets and controversies that have marked his life. Because behind the icon lies a path filled with mysteries, risky decisions, and moments many prefer to forget. This is the price of Snoop Dogg's success, a story of power, influence, and secrets that, until now, had never come to light. His beginnings on the streets. Before the world knew him as Snoop Dogg, Calvin Broadus Jr. grew up in an environment where survival was the first step to success. Surrounded by gangs, violence, and poverty, Snoop was forced to become part of a shadowy world. A world that became his school. At an early age, he was arrested multiple times, and his ties to the infamous Crips gang marked his adolescence. The public narrative has always portrayed him as someone who left that world behind. But did he truly leave it? Or did it remain an integral part of what drove him? From a young age, he was introduced to the world of the Crips, one of Los Angeles' most dangerous gangs, known for their blue colors and fierce loyalty. Joining the gang wasn't just a choice, it was a means of survival, a nearly mandatory path if you wanted respect, or simply wanted to stay alive. More than once, Snoop was arrested for drug and weapon possession, always with the shadow of the Crips by his side. Law enforcement kept him on their radar, but on the streets, gang respect was all that mattered. When fame and crime intertwined, there was one event that marked his life forever, a murder that changed everything and placed him at the center of a dark storm. This is the story of the case that almost ended his career and his freedom. In 1993, Snoop Dogg was at the peak of his success following his collaboration with Dr. Dre on The Chronic. But fate had one of the darkest moments of his life in store. A street confrontation ended with a man dead, and authorities pointed to Snoop as the main suspect. This case became a media circus. The victim, Philip Walder Marion, was a member of a rival gang who had conflicts with Snoop and his inner circle. That night, Snoop and his bodyguard, McKinley Lee, acted a cold and calculated ambush. Accused alongside his bodyguard of murdering a rival gang member, Snoop spent years in uncertainty, fighting not just for his freedom but for his life. The media targeted him, crafting an image of Snoop as the symbol of a dangerous and violent rapper. The trial was a media spectacle, a case followed by many with morbid fascination. As the trial progressed, the atmosphere grew increasingly tense. Behind closed doors, there were pressures, threats, and secret deals. Could it be that someone was trying to manipulate the case to protect their own interests? Some witnesses began to retract their statements. The versions of events began to change. And little by little, the scales started to tip. The pressure on those involved was immense. And the decisions weren't just legal. They involved power, influence, and respect. In the end, Snoop was declared innocent, but the doubt remains. Was it his money and fame that allowed him to walk free, or was he truly on the verge of losing everything? This trial, like many controversies in his life, remains a chapter shrouded in mystery. The marijuana controversy. Over the years, Snoop Dogg became the face of cannabis culture, but his connection to marijuana goes beyond just an image. Behind the scenes, Snoop has built a multi-million-dollar empire, with cannabis ventures spanning from dispensaries to product brands. While it seems to be just a lifestyle, his influence in this industry hasn't always been clean, involving shady deals and manipulation of legal changes. The Uncle Snoop everyone sees as an advocate for legalization has used his power and charisma to weave a network of control in this lucrative industry. Before legalization, Snoop was linked to the underground drug trade, making his success in the industry not just the result of his image, but also of his experience and contacts from years past. This paints Snoop as someone who turned his turbulent past into a legitimate empire, but who may still maintain some connections in the shadows. The contacts and knowledge Snoop gained from the illegal business were key to his success in the legal cannabis industry, and that initial advantage allowed him to go much further than others. Additionally, Snoop has managed to diversify his business ventures in ways that go beyond legality. Behind his musical empire lie secret investments in nightclubs, shell companies, and even illegal gambling. Through his connections, he controls a flow of money whose magnitude is known only to those closest to him. No one knows how many businesses he truly runs, or how many benefit from his power, but everyone knows that Snoop has a network that reaches places most wouldn't even dare to imagine. This secret network has allowed Snoop to keep his name clean while others do the dirty work. Does he have enemies? Of course. But challenging Snoop Dogg means defying an empire where each of his contacts is a piece that can react, defend, or attack as needed. Snoop's network of influence is, in reality, a labyrinth from which few manage to escape once they enter. Meanwhile, Snoop continues smiling in front of the cameras, embodying the image of good humor, the musician everyone loves. But behind that smile, there is a man who has silently woven a web of power, a dark dominion he manages with precision. Few know the true extent of his network, or how many people actually answer to him. One thing is certain: Snoop Dogg is not a man who leaves anything to chance. Every move, every word, every alliance, all are part of a shadow empire he controls. Snoop Dogg did not just become a rap icon, but also built a network of connections deep within the shadows of the industry, using his influence in music to forge alliances with powerful figures outside the musical realm, pulling the strings to maintain his empire. These secret contacts gave him protection during his worst moments, allowing him to escape legal troubles and stay on top while others fell. Record label executives, film producers, gang leaders, and even local politicians. Snoop is not just a musician. He is a man who knows how and when to use his connections. In the world of hip-hop, there exists a secret society of artists, entrepreneurs, and politicians, where Snoop Dogg is one of the founding members of this hidden circle that controls much more than just entertainment. These members meet in private locations where decisions about new talents, contracts, and even the careers of high-profile artists are made in secret. Snoop, with his influence, has the power to build or destroy careers from the shadows, deciding who rises and who falls. His influence extends far beyond stages and contracts. Snoop has dark ties to the streets of Los Angeles, with connections that stretch to criminal groups and underground businesses. On more than one occasion, people who dared to betray him ended up facing problems. Behind Snoop's relaxed facade is a man who does not forgive, a man with deep ties to those who control the darkest side of the city. During the golden years of Snoop Dogg's fame, there was a place almost no one talked about, but everyone knew existed. A secret club hidden in the shadows of Los Angeles, reserved for those willing to cross the boundaries of any morality. A place that only opened for special guests, and where getting in was as difficult as getting out. Snoop secretly owned an exclusive nightclub that only members of his closest circle could access. This club, hidden behind an unmarked facade and guarded by extreme security, hosted events known as Forbidden Nights, parties where the rules simply didn't exist. Figures from music, film, and even politics could do whatever they wanted without fear of being exposed. Stories tell of unimaginable excesses and clandestine deals made behind closed doors. It was a parallel universe of indulgence where nothing was forbidden, and the line between fantasy and danger disappeared. There were 3 clear rules: no photos, no phones, and most importantly, absolute silence about what happened within those walls. But this was no simple party venue. In the most exclusive areas of the club, the women there were not just present to dance or socialize. Many were brought in without even knowing what would actually happen. These women had no choice. Everything was designed for the enjoyment of the guests. They were pressured, some even coerced, into fulfilling the whims of men who saw them as mere objects. What was meant to be a place of freedom and enjoyment became a prison of uncontrolled hedonism. Snoop Dogg was the king of that world, and no one dared to challenge his power or his desires. Among the darkest stories, there is one that is always told in whispers. A night some called the Fall of the Angel. An exclusive event carefully planned by Snoop and his entourage. Only a select few received invitations, and those who attended claim they have never seen anything like it. At the climax of that night, Snoop Dogg appeared at the center of the dance floor. The room fell silent, and the lights focused on him as if he were a god of shadows, with a drink in hand and a mysterious smile. He watched as the party reached levels no one could have imagined. The event was so intense, so secretive, that after that night, many of the attendees disappeared from social circles. Some left out of shame, others out of fear of what they saw or did there. That night, in that dark club, they crossed boundaries they could never undo. Snoop Dogg has dominated the industry for decades, but his story is far more complex than the laid-back rapper everyone sees on the surface. His life has been a succession of risky decisions, secrets, and mysteries that surround him like a shadow. Is the Snoop Dogg we know truly who he claims to be? Or is he a carefully constructed figure designed to remain untouchable? Behind the man, behind the legend, lies a story of survival in a world of power, violence, and secrets. This is the price of Snoop Dogg's success, a story you won't find on magazine covers, but one that is reflected in every glance and every word from this hip-hop icon. The next time you see Snoop Dogg on stage, smiling, remember that behind that image lies a man who controls a world much darker than you can imagine. Because when you are Snoop Dogg, power is not just fame. It is a shadow network that few dare to challenge. And this has been the price of success Snoop has had to pay. If you like this video, give it a like and don't forget to activate the notification bell for more stories like this one.